Welcome to Let's Talk Politics. We're counting down to the general elections in 2019, and we're speaking with all the actors who are vying for the top job, Nigeria's top job. Victor Okhai is the presidential candidate of the Providence Peoples Congress, and he's a veteran filmmaker, veteran broadcast journalist. He's got several years in the arts and entertainment. Great to have you join us this great day to discuss your plans for the country. And you behind the lenses doing a lot of things, movies and the news and all of that, and you want to become Nigeria's president all of a sudden.
Not want to, I'm going to become Nigeria's president.
Why do you want to become president of this country?
Why should I not be? It's a question. First, you have only one life to live. And I say this to everyone. Secondly, you have equal chance with everyone to be whatever you want to be. And so you can aspire to be whatever you want to be. I have chosen, not as an ambition, but as a mission, to lead this potentially great country. Because I see where we should be. I know the kind of country that I desire to live in. And like they say, if you want something done, do it yourself, okay? And the best person to build the kind of Nigeria I see and dream is me, because I see I know what I want, I see what it is, and I know exactly how it should be done, and I'm here now, and I'm able to do it, so I've chosen to do it.
You know, every presidential candidate, everyone vying for office, usually will have the pillars and saying these are the areas I would like to focus if I get into office. What are the pillars for you?
Well, first of all, what differentiates us from animals or other creatures is the fact that we have the ability to reason. We can convert our knowledge into stuff, and so that's where education comes in. I don't know that animals, maybe they have their schools and all that, but with an educated man, you can be anything. Singapore, correct me, but I don't know what mineral resources they have. Japan, I don't know what mineral resources they have. Germany, the greatest thing they have is just this. Okay? And if you liberate a people's mind, there can be anything. Today, the richest companies in the world, look at them, it's tech and resources. And it's not even what you can see. Microsoft is not about hardware. Microsoft products are softwares. You know that. They don't make computers. They make computers that run, they make softwares that run computers. And so you see, human capital development is a priority. What can take a person from level 0 to the highest height is human capital development. Skill sets and knowledge that can take a man to the moon and beyond. And so that's very critical for me. And I'm looking at starting very young with our children. I've always said in every interview I've had an opportunity to do, I talk about the new ABC being coding. That should be the new language. And at that level, trust me, these kids can pick it up. By the time they're 11, 12, they should be able to write applications. My little son at home codes, he does, you'll be surprised. Games, it's just that we've not started putting them on the App Store and all that yet. Games he makes, through coding and all that. I'm amazed. And I say this is happening. You can play them interactive and all of that. And yet we keep looking at these kids as if they don't know anything.
I know you get to the other pillar, but let's build a tent a little bit.
Yes.
I don't know whether you're sounding ambitious when you think about comments made by the Minister of Education, Adamu. I think it was during the Education Summit recently, where he said, we have 38% of the people in this country who cannot read or write.
Yes.
And you're talking of coding. How do you hope to break first and foremost the people who cannot read and write?
No. Let me say this. You see, whatever your first encounter is with reading and writing, that's what you grow with. It's like language. And so if you learned Arabic letters first, you grow with that. If you learned to code first, you grow with that. Okay? Yes, you may say 30% who can't read or write. And so what about the 62% who can read and write? Okay? So we take care of the 38% who can read and write. We know that that's where we start from. Okay? With the rest, the new literacy is computer speak, if you like. That's a new level of literacy. There are professors today who can't do that, and they're backwards. Because the language is changing. And so for the 38%, it's important that we make as many people as possible educated. Whether they're old or young, create schools in as many places as possible. Give you an opportunity. I don't know whatever happened to even learning on television and on radio. There used to be classes, adult classes everywhere. Trust me, any of these people can read and write. Deep down in their heart, they're not very happy about it. If they have an opportunity, they would do it. There are people who have finished primary school at the age of 60-something, and they moved on to secondary school. That has been their lifelong ambition. Create the opportunity for them. That's what we'll do.
So take out human capital development. Yes. What other pillar are you looking at?
Well, with the foundation of human capital development, that out of the way, another that's very, very key and important to us is, if you look at, let me talk a little about the economy, for instance. Nigeria is, again, I'll repeat, a potentially very rich nation, but we have our priorities very wrong. Petroleum resources, we look for the cheap way out. We just sell crude oil. Whereas from crude alone, the number of products you can get, I can't even begin to count them. Why don't we refine them here and then sell? I just came back from Boko, barely 2 days ago.
Benue State.
Benue State. I saw oranges all over the place. From the farm, before it gets to Lagos, more than 80% would have been destroyed, wasted. Okay? We're just interested in selling raw materials. Why don't we just create industrial hubs around the country that will take advantage of the resources that come from these areas, so that from the very source, we begin to convert these things. One of the things that is important to us is, it is no longer about, whatever we export now must be finished. Not raw materials don't go out anymore. That's very important to us. What it does is that it generates employment. It will increase our GDP, because we'll create new products that we'll be able to market and sell. Logistics business will grow, because you'll be able to get transporters, warehousing opportunities. You will get packaging opportunities. You will get middlemen, wholesalers, distributors for this product, and ultimately exporters for the finished products. So you create a lot of jobs in that particular area. Then another area that is very important to me are young people. When I say young people, there's so many areas that bother me about them. Education, of course, I've talked about, that's very important, But other areas that are very important, again, is look at entertainment. See what Nollywood has done. Imagine all of these actors. If there was no Nollywood, for instance, what would have happened to them? You can imagine the number of unemployed people would have had. And yet, for one movie, you get so many along the value chain. You get people who sell papers for printing. You get people who sell, whether pirated or whatever, DVDs on the road. You get people who provide food on set, cameramen, actors, and all of that. The entertainment industry is very important. Sports. Entertainment and sports are two areas, apart from ICT, where a person, just by their skills, can move from zero to become multimillionaires in dollars in a very short time. Sports, a young man just by pugilistic skills can become a world champion and make so much money, and that money comes back in the country and transforms the economy. Football, the same thing. We can help our footballers here, create academies, create infrastructure, so that as we send them out, Believe me, they are sending money back into this country. So that you don't even need to get money from outside. Diaspora money comes back into this country and it helps to build our economy. Okay, so young people, very, very important to me. And when I say young people again, probably we talk about technology, infotech. Apart from the code I was talking about for young people and all that, very important to me is, you see, when you see our young people on the road, most times when policemen, because they don't know what the time is saying, they don't understand blockchain technology, for instance, they don't understand digital technology. They see with your phone, the first they think about is Yahoo Yahoo. Of course there are Yahoo Yahoo. Like in every profession, you have the bad eggs. But also, there is the fact that innovation today, everything is revolved around the palm top, if you like, permit me to use that. My favorite example is the app, Uber or Taxify, that is causing disruption in transportation. With one app, hundreds of thousands of jobs are created in this country and millions all over the world.
Victor, I'm going to put you on the pause here.
Yes.
We'll come back. We'll look at what technology can do in other areas of development.
Okay.
You're watching Let's Talk Politics with Victor Okhai here. I will be right back after this. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Let's Talk Politics. We're still having a discussion with Victor Okhai, the presidential candidate of Providence Peoples Congress. And we're having discussions on a number of issues here which affect national development and then his plan towards Nigeria's rejuvenation or rebirth. You've talked about technology being able to affect different aspects of life, the ways we can use but we're not using presently. Security is a big talking point.
Yes.
Without security, investment cannot come to the country.
Yeah.
And without security, people cannot
I agree
aspire to
totally.
what they want to
Totally.
do. As a filmmaker, you've done stuff, I remember, with the Chibok girls,
Yes.
many documentaries. You just speak with them, saw the areas where the devastation happened,
Yes.
and continues till today. What's your plan for security?
See, let me use an analogy. First of all, let's realize that there's nobody that cannot be talked to. Where there's conflict, obviously it means that there are points of disagreement. And wherever there are points of disagreement, it means there must be points of agreement as well. But those points have not been reached because no conflict lasts forever. You know that. When I look at the issue of Boko Haram, let's trace back Boko Haram. What caused it? Simple misunderstanding. What escalated it? Beyond the death of Yusuf, it's just helmet. I don't know if you recall. Helmet on Okada. Wear helmet, don't wear helmet. And then the police started, arresting. That was where disagreement started. Go back and trace it. Now, another point is, these people are saying Boko Haram, which means Arabic, Western education forbidden. No wahala. But is there an education that is not forbidden? Do you realize that Arabic is a language? There is education that can be done along those lines as well. If a people decide that they want to grow along such lines, and that is what is best for them, why don't you give it to them? I'll give you a small example. And it doesn't mean, they didn't say Christianity forbidden. What they meant was English Western education. In Saudi Arabia, they don't teach with English now, do they? They don't teach with English. You understand? They teach with Arabic language. The same thing you find in Egypt and in some other Arabic countries. Egypt, okay, you have English, but some core Arabic countries, UAE and the rest, is Arabic. Science, mathematics, whatever it is, they teach in that language. And so, if that is what is in the best interest of those people, if they can read along those lines to PhD level, it will come to a point where they will understand that to blend into the mainstream, you need English too. Get your PhD in that language. No wahala. But you need English to blend into the mainstream, because you cannot come and be minister for science and technology in mainstream Nigeria and you cannot speak English, although you have your Arabic, you have your PhD in Arabic language. You understand? So if that is what is the best, then give those people that education, give them the best along those lines. And once it's just a point of agreement, before you realize what is happening, there is some sort of blend. After all, there are some countries that are bilingual. It could be English, French. If the core north is just Arabic, the thing is just don't come and Islamize the rest of the country. But if Arabic is a language and you people there want to speak Arabic, just like Lagos State has adopted Yoruba language, they say Yoruba language must be taught to everybody. Does that make it a crime? Does that make it a bad thing? So the point I'm making is this. Dialogue can take care of any conflict. The reason for conflict is injustice. The reason for conflict is inequity. The reason for conflict is because nobody is listening to anybody.
So you have a problem with the gunboat sort of diplomacy we employ, sending in troops?
There is no way it can work. You can't be killing Zaki and his people and be thinking that you get solution. If you drive them on the ground, then you remove the battle line, and then the people that fight you don't know where to meet them anymore. That's what happened with Boko Haram. There was a battle line at the point. I mean, you drove them on the ground, so they begin to attack you. Guerrilla warfare, you don't know where they're coming from. But where a battle line is drawn, you are here, we are here. We know when we approach, we know where you are, we can come after you. But even then, why do we need that? Simple discussion. Salkida, I don't know if you know the young man called Salkida. And then the other one, they will call Mama Boko Haram. These are intermediaries who have spoken with this, who are in touch with these people. Instead of stigmatizing or trying to fight them, get these people. But no, they will not do it because it is better to approve $1 billion and waste it and say there's insecurity. You know, there are people that make money from insecurity. If there's peace, they won't make money. You know, unfortunately, that's the situation. So why don't you, it's a simple matter. Get these people who are in touch with these people, bring them. One thing I've realized is nobody ever says no to a king. It's a common balance. Do you know if you invite Shakal or whatever his name is to Aso Rock with full guarantee that nothing will happen to him, bring him in a discussion, whether he like it or not, he'll be awed in the presence of the president.
Together with security, one of the other issues that has dragged business down and affected business climate here is infrastructure. Power demand in this country far outstrips power supply. We should be over 100,000 megawatts going by our population size. Instead, we're playing around 4,000, 3,000 megawatts if you even get to see it. Infrastructure generally, the economic hub, Lagos is in an appalling state and people want to do business here. How do you hope to deal with infrastructure without having to go borrow?
Yes, power is simple. This thing is bogged down in the exclusive list. Remove it from there. Everybody knows that. I mean, I'll give you a small example. Akwa Ibom has a power station, but they cannot use it for themselves. They have to send it back to the power national grid. You know, what's the incentive therefore to produce when you cannot use it for yourself or for your people? How can I use my state's money to produce power and then now supply it to the rest of the country? It doesn't make sense. Take this simple thing out of the exclusive list. Everybody knows what the problem is. Why is it difficult for even one legislator or the federal government to just say, take it out of the exclusive list so that anybody can generate power, everybody can distribute power. And then this thing, once you decentralize power, the issue of power will be solved. Estates can generate their power. There are many who are willing to do that. State governments are ready to develop their power. Up north, there's possibility for solar. It's a simple solution. And I'm not sounding like the power minister. It's not rocket science. Take it out of the exclusive list. We all know the solution. But they say that perhaps some people are gaining from it. You know, I'm beginning to suspect. Not only that, if anyone tells you we generate 4,000 megawatts, it's not true. Because individually, what we develop in our various homes, what we generate in our various homes, put together is probably up to 70,000 megawatts. Why do I say so? Because they are not computed into the national grid, so you don't count them for anything. But factories, everywhere is 500 kVA, 100 kVA, 50 kVA, all of that put together is quite a lot. Now there's a technology that makes it possible for power that you generate from your house to push into the excess power to push into the national grid, which the government can buy and redistribute. These technologies exist. No one is putting them into use. And so for us, one of the first things we would do is remove this thing from the exclusive list. Secondly, we would find a way, once we do that, everybody can generate, of course, then we also want to make sure that we explore alternative sources of energy. And there's so many of them. Encourage as many as well. Possibly give incentives, whether tax incentives or whatever sort of incentives to ensure that people can generate power. And this can be resolved, believe me, maximum 2 years.
As we bring discussion to a close,
one area already? So
how time flies when you're having
we haven't started,
a great discussion. Corruption has been one of the biggest demons we face as a nation, from independence, even pre-independence till date. Billions of dollars either taken away from this country or being invested into other countries by a Nigerian at elective positions. Every government has come into power with their own anti-corruption plan to solve it. Instead, it is hit gobsmack in the face many times because of political will and several reasons. People have pointed back at them of not at failing to deal with this, and so the corruption perception continues to rise, especially with political actors. What are you going to do about corruption?
First thing is not be corrupt myself, because it takes a man without skeletons to fight the skeletons in the cupboard. The problem we have is that a lot of our leaders are compromised from the very beginning. And once you get compromised, these civil servants, some call them evil servants, the first thing they do is they just rub you with a little oil. What most leaders fail to understand is that once you have become president, you don't need anybody's favor. People come and begin to flatter Your Excellency, and you forget who you really are. If you know who you are, fellas say, animal, don't dash me human rights. What are you coming to offer me? You want to bribe me when I'm already in charge of all the resources? What are you bribing me with? Why do I need to steal it? You understand what I'm saying? And so there must be the will and the courage to deal.
But the president, Buhari,
yes,
incumbent president,
yes,
has tried this trickle-down approach in dealing with it by claiming to be the poster boy against corruption before he came to office, but it hasn't worked, has it?
It hasn't worked because you see...
But you want to use the same system.
No, that's not the same system. I talked about will and courage. You must be ready to take on the system. Remember who you are. You are in charge. If you don't remember who you are, people will want to come and... You understand what I'm saying? You need to take them on using every apparatus of state available to you. If you're compromised...
So
another thing that is very important...
So you plan to be like a mini dictator?
If it takes dictatorship to pull down that cankerworm, so be it. No apologies. But also, beyond just pulling down by force, you need to put systems in place. Nothing checks corruption more than, one, the will and the courage to fight it. Two, you must stay above board, because if your hands are sore, you can't fight. You know? Thirdly, you need to put systems in place to check it. Prevention is better than cure. This issue of fighting people who are corrupt is not an effective way. Check it, nip it in the bud. Create systems that will discourage people, and they have zero tolerance. If any man is caught, even if it's your blood relation, use him as an example. If people see that you have zero tolerance, then the message is passed right down. But if you are condoning corrupt people and, hobnobbing with them and all that, you've sent the wrong signal. That's the problem with the current administration. When you have corrupt people in government, you can't be talking about fighting corruption. You have a moral right to do that.
All right.
Aren't we talking restructuring?
We're out of time. Restructuring is a rolling conversation, and of course, we know where you stand on that one, based on a number of points you've already raised. Thank you very much, Victor Okhai.
Thank you for
the presidential candidate of People's Providence Congress. Providence Peoples Congress, PPC. We've been having a discussion on Let's Talk Politics. I'm Mauro Obo. Until next time, bye-bye.